Hi all, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to see how we can use the disk encryption in Google Cloud for our disks. And in this part, we are going to see about customer managed encryption keys. So in the last part, we already covered customer supplied encryption keys. You can check out that video. In this, we are talking about customer managed encryption keys. So by default, what will happen? Google Compute Engine encrypts customer content at rest, and Compute Engine automatically use Google own or Google managed encryption keys to encrypt your data. So whenever you create a VM or anything in Google Cloud, basically like storage also, so Google will encrypt your data at rest with Google own and Google managed encryption keys. But we have an option to customize this thing. So we can customize the encryption that Compute Engine uses for our resources by providing the key encryption keys. And that key encryption keys don't directly encrypt our data, but it will encrypt the Google own and manage keys that Compute Engine uses to encrypt your data. So let's see this as an example. Suppose this is your application running, and in that you have some data. So first of all, Google will encrypt your data with data encryption keys. That is also known as DEC. After that, you will encrypt this specific key with key encryption key. So this is your customer managed encryption key. So you will provide your key and it will encrypt this key, data encryption key, and then this key that your key, it will be installed in Cloud VMs. Like this, you also can use cloud like you can also use CSEK, customer supplied encryption keys, but that key doesn't store in Cloud KMS. It will store in your local or in your organization only, and the process will be same only. You will encrypt the data encryption key with the key encryption key. Right? Key encryption key which will encrypt the data encryption key, and data encryption key will encrypt your data. So like it is kind of envelope encryption. First you will encrypt like Google will encrypt your data, and you will encrypt that key which is encrypted your data with your own key, that is like CAC, key encryption key, and that key will be stored in Cloud PMS. So as of now, Google recommend like use custom managed encryption keys and in Cloud KMS with Compute Engine, and it will give you like control over protection level, location, rotation schedule, reusage and access permission, and cryptographic boundaries also. So Cloud KMS provide many options. I have a like series on Cloud KMS. You can check it out, and we can also provide our own encryption keys out of compute like outside of Compute Engine, and provide the key whenever you create or manage a disk. This is known as customer supplied encryption, which I have already covered in last video. So in this, we have some supported disk types. You can see like persistent disk supports all that Google own, CMEK, CSEK, hyper disk, then local SSD only support Google own or managed keys, disk clone. Then we have disk clone, machine images, standard snapshot, instant snapshot. So some supports all, some supports 1.2. Like this, you can check it out when doing these things. So when we encrypt disk with customer managed encryption keys, so the cloud KMS keys used to help protect data in Compute Engine data ES 256 keys, and these keys are key encryption keys, and they encrypt the data encryption keys that encrypt your data, not the data itself. As we already seen in the previous diagram, we are not encrypting the data, but we are encrypting the key which has encrypted our data. The data on the disk is encrypted with Google own and Google managed encryption keys. There are some limitations which you must know before doing this. Like you cannot encrypt the existing disk. So if any disk is being used, you cannot encrypt that disk. And you cannot use our own keys like with local SSD, because local SSD disk use Google managed encryption keys, and keys are deleted when once the VM is terminated also. And regional disk can only be encrypted by a key in one of the following cloud KMS locations. So if you create a regional disk, you have like make sure the key you have created in the same region, or you have a multi-regional disk in the same geographical location as the disk, or you have a key in the global location. So you have to make sure if you're using regional disk, these one of this must be true. And encryption is permanent. When you enable the encryption, you cannot like remove the encryption from the disk. There's some option like create a snapshot and all that. After that, if you take a snapshot, you can create a disk, and while creating a disk, you can define that you don't want encryption. But that is a different process. But once you enable the encryption on the disk, you cannot just remove it. And also when you create a disk from a like CMEK encrypted instant snapshot, so suppose you have taken a instant snapshot, so you have to specify the key also, so you that is used to encrypt the source disk. So you don't have to specify for other CMAK encrypted resources like disk clones or standard snapshot. Only when you create a disk from the CMAK encrypted instant snapshot. And this is all what we have to know about for this CMEK like disk encryption. Let's go to console and see how it works in like in demo. So I'm in my compute engine, and first of all, let me go to my EMS. I will create a new keyring. So you can create any name. Let me give like my CSEK key, something like this. Keyring, it is a keyring in which you can get multiple keys. Like in your home, you also have a keyring in which you can put multiple keys, same like that. After that, you have to choose a location. So if you go with region, you can select a specific region. You can select multi-region also, like in multiple in Canada, US, all these things. Even you can go with global also. So same key can be used like in any region if you want to use. So let's go with global one and let's click on create. After that, you have to provide a key name. So let's give my encryption key, and we have some levels also. So you can use software level, HSM level. Software means it will create a cryptographic operation performed at the software level, and for HSM it is done on the hardware security module. It is costly also, so we are going to use software one for this thing. After that, you can generate a key, or you can even import your key in a Google Cloud also. I'm going to generate a key. Then you have to define the purpose. So like whether you want to symmetric encrypt and decrypt, you are going to draw symmetric, asymmetric sign. These are all the different functions which you can use. So we are going to use symmetric encrypt and decrypt because we are going to use the same key to encrypt and decrypt our data. And we will click on continue and define the key rotation period, and like all these things you can define. We are not looking into this. We are just looking on the encryption part this time, and just will create on it will create our key. So our key has been created. Now what we have to do? Now you can go to your VM instances. So first of all, let's create a disk, and let me refresh my page also so that it will fetch the latest changes. And now let's create our first disk. Let call me first disk, and you have to choose a like location, single zone or regional. You can choose anything, and source can be anything. Whatever you want to use. I'm going with blank disk as of now. After that, 100, I'm okay with 50 GB, and I'm going to choose standard persistent disk. After that, if you come to data in this advanced configuration, and you will find this encryption. So we have three encryption as of now. Google managed, it is default, Cloud KMS, and customer supplied encryption key. This is already covered in last video. I'm going to use Cloud KMS. Once you click here, it will say select a encryption key. So we already have encryption key. I will click on here, and so I have to just grant the permission. You just click on grant, so it will successfully grant the permission to the service account, and just click on create. So our disk has been created. Now let's go inside this disk and see what options we have. We can see encryption is cloud KMS, and it is also showing like which key ID it is using. So you can see it is using my encryption key version 1 because we have only one version as of now. So if we go inside this key also, so we will found that version 1 is we are currently using, and this is using algorithm Google symmetric key and enabled and primary, all that. And now let's create a VM. Let's click on this create instance, and now let's say my first VM, and let me see in which location I've created. So this is US Central 1A. I will choose the same zone, and in the OS and storage, now we can go here also and click on show advanced options. Even you can enable encryption here also. So for the boot disk also. So let's click here, choose the same like key which we have you created, and just click on select. And in the disk part, you can add a new disk. Whenever you add a new disk, you can again enable the same thing here also, encryption for the new disk also, or even you can attach an existing disk also. So we already have a disk, and we will click here, and we will see it is already attached. Now click on save and just create a VM. So we have our encryption on both like existing disk also and all the boot disk also. So our VM has been created. Now let's go inside this VM, and if you come down to the storage part, we can see both our disk has been there. And now what we are going to do, now let's go to, first of all let's go to disk, and let's take a snapshot. So This is my first disk and this is my boot disk first VM. So let's take a snapshot of first VM of our boot disk, and we can click on like create a snapshot, or we can take an instant snapshot also. Let's take that first. Go to snapshot, click on instant snapshots, and just click on create a snapshot. So we can say instant boot disk snapshot, and we have to choose our disk. This is my first VM, that is my boot disk, and I will click on instant snapshot, and you can see it will say like the snapshot will use the same encryption type as the disk. So we cannot change the encryption while taking the snapshot. We can only change the encryption while we create a disk from the snapshot once again. So we will see that also, and while just click on create. So meanwhile it is taking, we can take a simple snapshot also. Doesn't mean like we have to take instant snapshot only. Just click on snapshot and let's say simple snapshot, and we can provide again the same disk, my boot disk, that is first VM. This is my snapshot, and we can define the in which location we want to take. So let's go with the regional only, US Central one I want to take, and after that it will again say the same thing. And let's click on create a snapshot here also. I've taken a snapshot. Now there is a one difference. What will happen if I go to snapshot and go to simple snapshot, and if I click on create disk from here. So let's say like simple SS disk, snapshot disk, and go with anything, all these options. And if we come down to our advanced configuration, now from here we can change the encryption key also. Like now we want to use Google managed encryption key, we can go with CSEK. We can now if you want to use cloud KMS, you can define a new key also if you have a new key. That's okay. But if you want to change the encryption, go back to Google manage, you can just come over here and just click on create. So it will now the new disk which will be created, it will be of Google managed encryption key. Like this, you can change the encryption also. Now, if we go to instant snapshot, let's see whether this option is there or not. So if we click on instant snapshot and let's go inside it and just click on create a snap. Oh, so not create a snapshot. Let's come back. Let's click on create disk. And if we come down here now, instant snapshot, all that, and the advanced configuration, you will see we cannot change this. We don't have the option for the instant snapshot. It will use the This will use the same encryption type as the source instant snapshot. So this is the main difference between snapshot and instant snapshot. So if you take an instant snapshot, so the encryption will be same for that disk, but for the simple snapshot, encryption will be, you can change the encryption if you want to move to different encryption. Now what we can do, let's come back to our uh, cloud KMS and let's click on rotate key, so it will create a new key. So let's click on this. You can see now it has created a new key just now at 12:07 p.m. and this is become my primary key and this is my secondary key. It is also enabled. This is not, doesn't mean it will not work, but this is my primary key. Now all the like snapshot will be, or any disk encryption will use this thing, this key. Now let's see what will happen if we create a new disk now. So as you see, this is our first disk which we have created and it is using version 1. Now let's go to create new disk and click on create a disk. Let's say new key disk because we are going to use a different version this time. And let's okay with US Central 1A and let's make it 10 GB. And after that go to advanced configuration once again, and if we go to cloud KMS and choose our key, this one, and just click on create a disk. So we have not defined which version we want to use because it is always going to use the enabled and primary version for the new disk. For old one, it is still using our old version like this one, but now for the new disk, it will use enabled and primary one. So this is our new key disk, and if you go inside it, so we can see it is using version 2 because we have defined here this is our new enabled and primary version. Now, what will happen if we have a disk already? Suppose suppose this is our first disk, or we can say first disk, and if we take a snapshot of this disk, let's see it is using as of now version 1, but let's see what will happen if we take a snapshot and let's say new snapshot data disk. and click on snapshot, and it will be like put it regional. And as of now it is showing it is going to use the encryption. It will use the same encryption. It will not do anything for this disk because it is already being encrypted with the old key version. But for the new disk like which we have created for this, and if we click on create a snapshot, so it is going to use the new one, version 2. Now there's an option like if you want to rotate the key, how we can do that. So for that, suppose now it is using version 1, like our old disk is using version 1, and you want to, like this one is using version 1 and you want to use a version 2 disk, like latest version for this disk. Somehow your key is compromised or you want to rotate your key. So for that what we can do, first of all we have to take a snapshot, and once you have a snapshot you can create a new disk and using a new version. So suppose we already have some snapshots available, so we come here, click on simple snapshot, and we can see it is using like crypto key version 1. And if we click on create a new disk from here, and let's say testing new key disk, let's see whether it will do or not. Single zone only, and we are using our one snapshot only. And if we come to advanced configuration, here we can define cloud KMS, and we will choose which cloud KMS scheme we want to use. So we want to choose this one, and let's click on create our disk. So now let's see whether new disk will be create use a new encryption key or not. So it has been created, testing new key disk, and let's see, we can see now it is using crypto key version 2, that is our latest version. Like this, first of all take a snapshot, and once snapshot has been taken, create a new disk, and when you create a new disk it will automatically use the latest version. Like this you can rotate your key. Once disk has been created, you can create a new image, or you can, if it is data disk, it is attached disk to your VM. So from here you can just create an image, define all these things, whether location, regional, all that. And if you come down here also, while creating the image, again if you want to change the encryption, that is also possible. So there are multiple ways you can change encryption from a disk, like from like, so there are multiple ways. So first take a snapshot, and when you create a disk you have an option to change the encryption thing, or you can directly change from the disk also. If you have a disk, and if you click on create an image only created of a boot disk, not from data disk. And if you have from there also you can define if you want to move to Google managed, customer supplied, cloud KMS, something like that. You can choose this option also. I think this is our boot disk, and if we click on create image, I will show this also. And it is showing that disk is attached to a VM. That's okay for this demo. And like this you can change the encryption via disk also. There are two ways, whatever feels good to you, you can choose. Now what will happen, suppose we have a VM running and you want to attach a disk also, we can do that also. But we don't have yeah, you have okay, let's click on create instance, and you can go to OS and storage, change here, and we have some snapshots available. I think this is our simple snapshot, and here you can define all the things. If you go to advanced configuration, again you can change the KMS, like what you want to use, customer supplied, cloud KMS, Google manage, all these things you can define here. You can choose again the same key which you want to use. We have this archive option. If you have some archive snapshot existing disk, you have existing disk, you can use that also. So suppose if any boot, I don't know which one is boot disk, I think this is the boot disk only. And again, for existing disk, we don't have an option to choose the encryption, because it is going to use the same encryption that is being applied to your disk. But for the snapshot, we have basically you can create an image, and once the image has been created, you can use that image also. Like this, you have the multiple options. So now one more thing I want to show you. Suppose someone goes here and just disable this key. Let me disable this key. And once the this is our, I'm disabling our first version. Go back to our disk, and now let's try to create a new snapshot or anything. And suppose this is my first disk, which is using our first key version. This is key version 1. And if we click on create a snapshot, we will get an error because our key has been disabled. So if you come here and let's say anything disabled snapshot, let's give a name disabled, access, and we're going to create a snapshot. Let's make it a regional only. And if we click on create, we can see it is giving error. Create snapshot, disabled access failed, operation type failed because cloud KMS error using key, the key which we have defined, and the version 1 is not enabled, current state is disabled. So somehow if someone disabled your key, you cannot take a snapshot and anything, because when you take a snapshot or create a disk with the same encryption key, it will go and fetch the data from the cloud KMS, but it will not able to find the data, and it will say I cannot decrypt the key to take the snapshot. So that's why it is not working. Now if we come back to our VM also, let's try to like power it on. I don't know whether it works or not, because there will be delay up to like some odd delay, like before that it will just work fine. Let's see, let's try to start the VM. No, okay, for this also we are saying that getting the same error, like failed to start the VM, cloud KMS error. You can see this is our key is disabled. So somehow if someone is disabled your key and your VM is powered off, and if you try to power on the VM, it will not work. And by this mistake, is someone has already deleted this key, someone has destroyed this key, and you have tried to power on a VM after many days and key is not available, it is destroyed like permanently, so you cannot recover your data is gone. Like this is the one of the thing you have to make sure. So as of now, let's re-enable it. So anytime you come back and re-enable if you disable key, so let's enable it and let's try to again power on our VM. Let's see whether it works now or not. So now this time VM has been started, as you can see. And if we come down, okay, one more option I want to show you. Let's click on edit button, and if we come down, there's an option here like customer manage encryption key revocation policy. What will happen? You can configure this VM to shut down when the key associated with any attached disk is revoked. So what will happen? So revoke is has three options. Like as of now, it will not do anything. It will not shut down the VM if the key is revoked. But if you want, like if someone disable the key, or someone delete the key, or someone even remove the IAM permissions on a key, that is also referred as a revoking the key. Your VM will be shut down. So let's click on shut down and click on save. So now what will happen if we shut down our, like if I disable our key, my VM will be shut down. You can use this option so that if someone by mistake like revoke your key or delete your key, your VM will be shut down. You will get to know immediately like what will happening, and you can just like revert that decision. Instead of your VM is kept on running, and one day when you try to restart the VM, it will not restart because your disk, like your encryption key is not anymore there. So this is a option which we can use. So now let me come back and click on here and just click on disable once again. So let's disable our key again, and if we come back here, in some time I think it will automatically power off the VM. We have to wait for that. Here in Google Cloud documentation that it can take up to 7 hours like before like to shut down the VM. So we cannot wait that much time. Thing I want to show you, suppose these are my some disks, and if I go here and let me disable my second also, second key version also, I like for both the versions has been disabled. And if we come here and I click on new key disk, and if you see it is using version 2, and if I try to attach this disk to in any VM or in a new VM also, it will not work. It will take some time after disabling the key, like it will stop working. Let's try it. Maybe it work, but basically it is not going to work. So let's say new VM, new VM2, and give a location new center 1. Go to our here, add adjusting disk, and choose our new disk and click on save. It can work or not because we have just disabled the key, but basically it will not work. Let's click on create. So we can see it is already giving an error, the same error which we have seen previously also, like the key is not enabled and it is in disabled state. So if you have a disk also, you cannot attach to any VM that is running, or a new VM also. And this VM will first VM will be shut down in some time. As per Google document, it will take up to 7 hours once we disable or revoke the key. And once that will be done, you can come to an operation thing, and it will show you all the operation and who will that done that operation. So this will operation will be done by the system only. That's all from this video. We have covered most of the things: how to create a CMEK, and how to create a disk snapshot image, and how to attach, what will happen if you disable the key, how to rotate the key, all that. So if you have any questions, suggestions, just comment it down. I will drop my email ID also. You can reach out to my on my email also. I will try to help you if I know how to. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.